Support for Destination Michigan is provided by the CMU Bookstore. T-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, maroon and gold memories, and an official outfitter of Adidas apparel at the Central Michigan University-owned and operated CMU Bookstore. Online shopping 7 days a week at cmubookstore.com. The CMU Bookstore, online at cmubookstore.com, on campus in the University Center, and game day locations at Kelly Short Stadium and the John G. Kohalby Events Center.
Hello everyone, I'm Matthew Ozanek and welcome to Destination Michigan, the series that takes you to every corner of the Great Lakes State in search of the sights, the sounds, and of course the people that define this Michigan experience. Let's take a sneak peek at what we have coming up for you in this episode. Adventure is the name of the game as we kayak out to Turnip Rock near Port Austin, and we head up into the clouds above Gregory. At the Grand Rapids Public Museum, explorers young and old are enchanted by the past, present, and future. We'll also visit Artreach of Mid-Michigan in Mount Pleasant and meet this local legend in Alpena. All these stories are coming your way on this episode of Destination Michigan. You know, here on Destination Michigan, we're never too afraid to take the road less traveled to bring you amazing stories. But for our first destination, we're ditching the road altogether and heading out into the waters of Lake Huron. We're in search of one of Michigan's most unusual natural wonders, Turnip Rock. Make your way to the very tip of Michigan's thumb and you arrive at the gorgeous little town of Port Austin. With its vibrant community and postcard views of Lake Huron, it's a perfect stop for any Michigan summer road trip. But there's a jewel hidden in the crown of Michigan's thumb, but if you want to find it, you're going to have to work for it. This is Turnip Rock. By looking at the formation, it's obvious why it didn't take locals long to come up with a name, but how the rock got its shape took much longer. In fact, it took thousands of years for the waters of Lake Huron to undercut the rocks around the island. It's sometimes referred to as a stack or sea stack, and stacks like this are more commonly found around the British Islands and Mediterranean Sea. But instead of burning through all of your frequent flyer miles, you can hop in a kayak and experience this rare natural wonder for yourself.
At the time, I never knew Turnip Rock was out there when I opened it. It wasn't until I had already bought all the kayaks and went out there one day and made it all the way out there, and I was like, wow, this is great. My brother and I decided, hey, let's go explore out there. Let's see what the trip from Grindstone into Port Austin is like. And so we launched down in Grindstone, which is about 5 miles away, and on the paddle back, we came across Turnip Rock and all the rock formations out there, and we're like, this is incredible. Turnip Rock is surrounded by a gated community, so it's all private. The only way to get to it is by water. It's very shallow most of the way out there, and there's a lot of rocks underneath the water, and you follow close to shore, so that, in a way, that makes it very safe. It's a beautiful trip out there, but the kayak is really good because canoes sit higher up in the water, so if you get wind or you get waves, they fill up with wind and waves, whereas the kayak sits lower in the water and is able to maneuver through waves a lot better. We used to do tandem kayaks, but we found the same problem as they fill with water, and with the wind, they're too hard to handle, and so we've gone only to single kayaks.
The kayaks are really perfect because the water around Turnip Rock is really shallow. If you tried to come into a boat or a pontoon, you just wouldn't have the same experience. Chris and the guys at the shop will give you all the equipment that you need. They'll give you a few tips and tricks to learn how you get out to Turnip Rock safely. And to have an enjoyable and safe experience, you really are going to want to wait for that perfect day. We were fortunate on the day of our trip that the conditions for kayaking were perfect, but wind and weather on the Great Lakes can change quickly, so it's imperative to be prepared before heading out into the water.
Optimal condition is light and variable winds and sun. If the winds get up over 10 miles per hour or 10 knots, we usually won't send people out there. It's a 3.5 mile trip out there, 3.5 mile trip back, and if you're going against the wind one way or the other, it can get extremely tiring and difficult to do. It's a long trip out. Some people can do it real easy, and whereas other people it's a struggle to go that long. The average person, it takes about 3 hours to get out there and back. You want to make sure that you're able to maintain that stamina.
But remember that this area here along the shoreline is private property. Now, even though the waters and Turnip Rock here are open for visitors to come and see, you have to remember to respect the private property surrounding the area. In addition to Turnip Rock, you can check out a few of the caves scattered along the lakeshore. There's also this cliff, appropriately named the Thumbnail, the supposed northernmost point of Michigan's thumb.
And one of my favorite parts is when customers come back and all of them just say, that was incredible, it was the best. So the fact that we can make people happy and make people's vacations an enjoyable, memorable experience, that's my favorite part of it. Port Austin is a really nice town. We focus a lot on the arts. I think we're kind of an undiscovered gem. We're quickly becoming discovered. I think more and more people seem to be coming up every year.
It's also so important that we care for this natural beauty and keep this area gorgeous for generations to come. So take only memories and leave only ways. Port Austin Kayak has recently added a cafe and beer garden to the property, so you can enjoy a post-paddle bite before you check out all that the Port Austin community has to offer. And for our next story, we're getting out of the water and heading up into the clouds. To soar in the sky like a bird has been the dream of many, and in the town of Gregory, there's a club that can take you soaring with the Sandhills. Destination Michigan's Steve Smith says, get ready for the ride of your life.
There's an amazement that occurs as soon as the wheels lift off the ground, and this device that you're sitting in with a set of wings out on the left and right is suddenly levitated by the sheer dint of it moving forward through the air at a certain airspeed. There's a miracle that occurs.
You never know what wonder is around the next curve on Michigan's back roads. For those exploring the scenic Pinckney Recreation Area near Gregory, you're likely to stumble on a grass airstrip, home of the Sandhill Soaring Club. There you'll find the welcome sign out on most weekends and holidays from April through Thanksgiving. But be warned, flying in a glider plane can be addicting.
With respect to soaring, non-powered flight, there is not only the miracle of taking off, but the miracle of being able to be sustained by the air moving up and you as the pilot flying into that column or that mass of air that's moving up, and use that energy to increase the altitude, trade that energy for that altitude for energy, and then be able to slide forward down an inclined plane of buoyant air to the next thermal, that next column of rising air. And many of the glider pilots here have flown 400 and 500 miles in a day unpowered.
We search around, we try to find areas where there's rising air currents, and then you maneuver the glider to try to stay in the strongest rising air currents, and you can gain altitude. On a good day, you can go up fairly quickly. Here in Michigan, it's not uncommon to see 400, 500, 600 foot a minute updrafts. On a really good day, you can hit 1,000 foot a minute going up.
The pilots come from all walks of life, from judges to general contractors, and people from 13 to 84 are Sandhill Soaring Club members. Luke Valentine is among the youngest. He's preparing for his first solo flight, which is scheduled for his 14th birthday in January.
It's not really that scary. When I first started out, it was like, yeah, okay, I'm way up here. But now it's more of something that I like. It's extremely fun, and I feel like it's something that everybody should get to have.
When I joined, it was joining with an aviation youth group, an Explorer Post. So that was a youth-oriented group specifically to try to get youth involved. And throughout the club's history since then, we've always been pro-youth, trying to foster a youth environment.
The club is designed to primarily expand the knowledge and the fun that this operation brings to everyone, as you probably saw being here for the past several hours, but also to train not only the 14-year-old kid and the 44-year-old father, but every other person from any walk of life that has any interest and gets the aviation bug. We welcome them with open arms.
Putting a price tag on fun and adventure is impossible to do. In fact, this experience is priceless.
It's really quite the bargain. Today's dollars, it's up probably around $3,000, and that's for the average person of average capability. And I say that, I had no particular skill set. Anyone of an average coordination and skill set can become a very good pilot, and probably around the $3,000 to $3,500 range.
Linda Stafford and her husband both did their solo flights 40 years ago. Today, she still volunteers at the Sandhill Soaring Club, enjoying the company of fellow pilots and the thrill of flying.
Well, it's like magic, and it's the first glider ride I ever had in my life was like magic, and the second one, and the third one, and the fifth one, and the 10th, and it's just wonderful. It's more fun than anything I've ever done.
Freedom, total freedom, and the ability to soar through an airspace that is unencumbered by too many regulations, using just the natural energy that occurs from rising air and falling air to fly in some of the most refined, aerodynamically designed devices on the planet is one of the most freeing and exhilarating experiences you can have.
Believe it or not, each one of those gliders weighs in at a relatively light 1,500 pounds. To learn more about the Sandhill Soaring Club and the sport of gliding, you can visit their website, sandhillsoaring.org. And for our next story, we head west to pay a visit to the Grand Rapids Public Museum, known throughout the community for its engaging displays. Located right on the riverbank, it's easy to see why this landmark located in the heart of the city has been capturing the minds of visitors for decades. Stephanie Mills is here to take us on a tour that starts the moment you walk through the front door.
As you walk in, you're greeted right away by our 75-foot long fin whale skeleton that hangs over our main galleria. And so he's eye-catching, definitely something that we're known for here.
Yep, eye-catching indeed. Suspended in the air and stretching across the ceiling, this whale skeleton is a captivating way to start your experience at the Grand Rapids Public Museum. Like the skeleton, the museum's collection is massive, understandable since they began collecting pieces nearly 163 years ago.
We've been a staple of the community for a long time. We did originate actually through being part of the Grand Rapids Public Schools, and so a group of high school students was starting to collect different historical or different natural species in the area because they thought it was important to hold on to those. And at the same time, John Ball, who's a huge name in Grand Rapids, was working on creating a museum himself because he found it important for the community to have one so that we knew we were growing and we were investing in ourselves. Those two parties kind of came together and started what was known as the Kent Scientific Institute. From there we did progress and built a larger museum building where our artifacts went into exhibit cases and more of the look and feel of what you know a museum is today. And then about 22, 23 years ago, we moved into the building that we're housed in currently and have really created an atmosphere here that's hands-on and educational for all learning types.
There's a lot to see here, 3 floors full of artifacts and treasures from times long ago. Some tell the history of the area, some pieces showcase the history of the world. In the old Grand Rapids section, you're literally taking a walk back in time.
We're sitting in Streets of Old Grand Rapids, which really transports visitors back into 1890s, what it was like to walk in downtown Grand Rapids, what shops were there, and it's all staffed by volunteers who are telling the story of the different shopkeepers and other things that the community saw on a day-to-day basis back then.
We caught up with Larry Burrell, a dedicated volunteer who's been here at the museum for about 20 years and teaches visitors about the printing trade from the 1800s.
I gotta plan it all out ahead and go to the drawer that has just what I want. And then the question is, well, if you put your words together that way, what do you use for spell check? Well, kids, it's a brain. It's a brain. And I had no choice. When I was a kid, I had no choice. You had to learn how to spell everything. No electronic help. I tell the kids, I don't need electricity. I'm using breakfast energy. I eat a good breakfast before I come, or my press doesn't work. I won't get anything done here.
One of the many highlights of the museum is right here, taking a ride on the carousel right over the Grand River.
The museum's known for a lot of different things. So talking about must-sees, we have a 1928 Spillman carousel. So it was originally used out of New Jersey and it's here today. We actually transport it. You're gonna ride the carousel over the Grand River. So it's an amazing experience for all ages. It does have 6 original characters on it of the different animals and then the rest are replacements. But you're riding this historical artifact that's one of our biggest and most popular ones.
All of this, practically everything here, was donated to the museum, and their collection is enormous. While there's a lot to see when you're here, it's only about 5% of what they actually have. The rest of the 95% is at their separate storage facility.
About 99% of our collections was donated to us, which is a little rare for a museum because they do spend money a lot of times to bring in different pieces that they want. But in this Kent Scientific portion of the museum now, you're gonna see a mastodon skeleton and you're gonna see a giant clam and animals that might not have been around for them to collect in that time, but somebody felt the need to make sure the museum had it to share with the community.
The museum also houses West Michigan's only planetarium. Throughout the year, they also have temporary exhibits that explore topics on a global level that people otherwise wouldn't necessarily learn about in Grand Rapids. During our visit, the temporary exhibit taught visitors about whales. The temporary exhibits change throughout the year, always giving visitors a reason to come back again and discover something new.
It's a great place because there's really something for everyone, whether you're interested in the solar system and the planetarium to our temporary exhibits. We are able to touch on such a vast variety of topics and subject lines, but also we've designed the museum to really be a spot that anyone's able to come to.
So be sure to look up, down, and all around you because there is so much to see and learn about at the Grand Rapids Public Museum. They're open all year long except for major holidays. Everyone knows that at the heart of this great big old state of ours lies the town of Mount Pleasant, home of Central Michigan University. This community thrives year after year because of dedicated residents and very unique downtown businesses like Artreach of Mid-Michigan. Stephanie Mills returns and she's going to show us how Artreach is bringing creativity to life.
Mount Pleasant has a history rich with culture, the arts, and immense pride for its Central Michigan University Chippewas. But this quaint, vibrant town is also teeming with unique and colorful businesses like Artreach.
The community here, the staff and the volunteers and the people who are involved with the classes and everything, it's just a great community. It's a real family environment.
Artreach is an organization that brings art and cultural activities to the surrounding communities. Artreach began as a grassroots effort of individuals who wanted to make sure that arts and culture were alive in the community and bringing artists opportunities to create and show their work throughout the community.
From paintings, pottery, or photographs, artists can put their work on display in the gallery for people to come and check out.
Artreach is really a multifaceted organization in that we have a fine arts gallery, and each year we take artist submissions for the gallery. The artists have their show up for about a month, and we have an opening reception for the artist, and if they're interested, they can sell art pieces out of the gallery as well. In addition to that, we also have our store, and in the store we focus on Michigan artists, and so artists are able to come in and sell their work on consignment. The neat part about the consignment shop is it gives artists a chance to sell their work and to showcase their work and to have a storefront when they might not otherwise be able to have that as an opportunity. So it's a nice partnership with artists all around the state to kind of get their pieces out there.
It's super nice to be able to sell artwork here, and we have so many different types of artwork, which I think is nice to be able to sell jewelry and paintings or prints and things like that. So it's really nice that they have such a wide variety of art in the gift shop. And when people come in here, they kind of know that a lot of the artists are local, and I think there's definitely a want to support that.
When you visit Artreach, you aren't just discovering one type of art, you're learning about many different forms, some of which you can make if you attend one of their classes in their studio.
We want everyone to feel that they can express themselves in an artistic manner, and we have a lot of programs that include art history and unique forms of art, such as our healing arts program as well. We do art classes depending on the artists that are available and the time that the class takes. We have painting the town classes, which are classes where you can come in and paint a canvas with your friends. We also offer private parties. We have children's classes, and we're always looking for ideas and artists that are interested in giving educational opportunities for classes as well.
Artreach also hits the road to area schools, reaching the youngest minds at arguably one of their most creative point in their developing lives.
One of our biggest outreach programs for the community, especially focused on children, is the art picture program. And so on an annual basis, close to 8,000 children have the opportunity to experience art in their classrooms. So we have docents that are trained, and the docents spend an hour in the schools once a month, and they talk about the work with the children. Sometimes they have an activity that revolves around the artist or the artist's medium.
There are so many ways Mount Pleasant and surrounding communities really rally behind ArtReach. Every year the organization puts on their famous banner program that adorn the downtown area during the warmer summer months, along with their revamped chair affair or art flare.
Oh, I love being a part of an organization that is so community-minded and is so active and engaged in collaboration with community organizations, the schools. I really kind of think of us as a bridge between all of those different entities to try and keep our arts and cultural events alive in the community and give people lots of opportunities. So I love meeting people and coming up with creative ideas for ways that we can integrate new programs too.
ArtReach offers a variety of classes for kids and adults all year long. To check out their calendar, you can go to their website, artreachcenter.org. We all love Michigan for its interesting places and intriguing people, but when you can bundle both of those things together, that makes for a destination that is a must for anyone's bucket list. With that in mind, Steve Smith is going to take us to just outside Alpena to bend an elbow at the Maplewood Tavern, where history abounds, music fills the air, and the owner is a legend.
I've been here ever since 1940, so I am now 98 years old. I came here to help my mother-in-law. I married their son, Henry Carteret, and she was a widow. And I came here, and I've been here ever since 1940.
People from every corner of the state and Canada make a mecca to the Maplewood to meet Clarice. She was even featured in the Detroit Free Press. So what brings the patrons and press from far and near to Alpena? Clarice, the owner, is in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Longest continuous career as a bartender in the world. They sent the certificate, which is up. I spelled her name a little wrong, but that's okay, because her real name is Clarice Kramer Ketteret Grunkovich. We'll forgive them if they left one letter out.
The Maplewood Tavern was established in 1924. Life was a lot different back then.
This was a dance hall when it was built. My in-law, my mother and father-in-law built this place in Prohibition days. There was no bar, no beer, or nothing sold in here. I'm sure there was a lot of it consumed probably outside, but it wasn't sold in here at all. We used to get bands in from Detroit, and all big bands, different bands, and you could dance 3 dances for a quarter.
My grandmother employed 10 to 12 musicians, and remember, there was no sound system then, so that was enough to push the sound and to play music. And the 3 dances, they always knew what they were going to do because it was 3 two-steps, 3 waltzes, and 3 faster numbers. So that's how the money was made in here.
Clarice found her spot behind the Maplewood Bar in 1940, and she's still pulling beer 77 years later.
Actually, we lived here. We lived here, and I'd help with the housework and did the cooking and helped in here. And later years took care of my mother-in-law when she was ill, had sugar and diabetes and whatever. And so I just stayed here. People liked me, and I just leave. So that's just the way it was, you know.
It is a back roads honky-tonk. Yes, it is.
If Clarice is the queen of the Maplewood, then music is king. Step aside, Taylor Swift. This go-go great-grandma has her own music video.
Yes, we did do a music video. Yes, we did. Well, I just couldn't, for a while, couldn't figure out what we were doing over there back at the bar. I said, what are we doing here, you know? But it turned out good, yeah.
Clarice is the magnet that pulls people to the Maplewood. So before we say goodbye, a few final thoughts.
I never smoked, and I'm not a big drinker. Now, whether that helped any or not, I don't know. You gotta think how lucky you've been that you've been here this long and you've been able to do it. That's my tribute to it. Yep. I guess I could add that I never expected to have this happen. But somehow the word got around, and I appreciate it very much. What else would I do? Said come and wait on people, and the people like me, and I keep coming back, you know? And I no doubt will, as long as I can walk, you know? So.
If Clarice wasn't already lovable enough, she tells us that when she started at the tavern, times were tough and money was tight, so she refused to accept gratuities. Well, that stuck with Clarice, and in her 77 years of caring for her patrons, she has never accepted a tip. Well, that's going to wrap things up for us on this episode of Destination Michigan, and from all of us here, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Now you can enjoy the Destination Michigan experience anytime, anywhere, online. Just go to pbs.org or download the PBS app to your smartphone or tablet. Search Destination Michigan and relive all of your favorite stories from our beloved Great Lakes state.